Hi, this is a video on how to use the Ask a Question box whenever you need help with the software and you need to contact technical support. So basically, when you click this button, you'll get three options. The first one is to report an issue. So this is when you have any problem with the software, like some data is missing or something is not working as expected, etc. Suggest a feature is when you want to ask if we have certain feature or you want to suggest a new improvement or feature to the software. Anything related to features, you should click this button. And finally, ask a general question is for anything else. So how does it work? When you click on report an issue, in here you can choose a affected client. If, for example, let's say a client has submitted a questionnaire but you haven't received it. So you can choose the questionnaire here and you can write down the message. When you do this, we're gonna be able to fix to receive information to fix your issue, and you should write down as many details as possible so that it can reproduce the issue. So for example, if a certain button in the software is not working, if you let us know where this button is and what steps you took to get to this page in the software, this would help us enormously as we can try to follow on your steps and reproduce the issue, and this will help us fix it. So yeah, you can write your message here, my message, and click the button, and this will send us the email. Then the second option for features. So the way this works is you'll get this table, and this currently has a list of all the user suggested features we have. So many users have made suggestions in the past, and these suggestions are ordered by priority. So the priority is calculated by how many people have suggested a feature and also how feasible it is to make this feature. So for example, if something is extremely easy to make, even if just a couple of people suggested, this is gonna jump it to the top of the list. But if something is extremely challenging or costly or it cannot be done for some reason, then this is gonna be lower in the list. And also the more people suggest a feature, the higher it'll go to the list, and the vice versa for if very few people suggest it, it'll go to the bottom of the list. So you can browse in here, you can search if there is a certain feature you want, like for example, recipe, import, improve the feature to import recipes from URL. So if you want this feature to happen, you can click on vote for this. This will record your vote, and this will increase it in the list. And what we do is from time to time, we are going to this list and we are working on the features by priority. So you can also click this button to and follow the instructions if you want to suggest something completely new that is not in the list. But yeah, I would suggest you first search to see if the feature you want is already in the list, because if you add your vote to something that has already been suggested, this will make it more likely that we'll develop it faster. Something that is completely new, it's likely that only one person suggested it, and it's going to be very unlikely we can work on it. So that's for features. And finally, for questions, when you click this button, you get a chance to search for your question. So the reason this is useful is because, for example, if I search how to create a recipe, so we received so many times, for example, if you're a new user who just joined the software, majority of new users we have tend to ask similar questions. Like if you're learning how to use the software, you may ask, how do I do this or how do I do that, etc. And we have some very complete, like very thorough tutorials for most common questions. So for example, how to create a recipe. You can see here there is screenshots and you can see step by step how to do this. And basically, if you find your question in here, you can get a reply and learn how to do what you need to do immediately without the need to contact support. If you contact support, we're gonna take a few hours to reply. Typically, we reply within 24 hours, but you're gonna have to wait until we see your message and reply. And in many cases, if your question is already in the tutorials, we're gonna just send you the tutorial, because this tutorial will probably explain anything better than we would be able to explain by like kind of improvising the instructions and steps you need to take. So that said, obviously not all questions are in the tutorials. Many times you want to ask something that is very specific, and or maybe you saw a tutorial and there is something you don't understand, or so in those cases what you can do is you can search for the question, how to create a recipe, And if the suggestions you see here are not what you need, then you can just click "My question is not listed," and this will allow you to send us the message. And yeah, we just ask users where, if possible, to use this search feature, because many of the questions, as I said, have already been answered, and there is video tutorials and screenshots, and the feedback we've gotten from users is majority of users have told us that the tutorials usually fix their problem well. So you should be aware that there is this option in case you need help. So that's all. So and yeah, and finally, if something is very urgent, if you don't know which category it is, like if there is a big problem or whatever, just click the red button, report an issue, and we're not necessarily gonna deal with the questions with higher priority, but it's just easier. And we typically, when we receive emails, we typically scan through the emails and we try to identify what seems to be more important and urgent and deal with that first. So depending on the button you choose, it just helps us organize our support requests better, but you will not get different priority depending on the button you choose. So just take that into account. So that's all. Thanks for watching.